Hi guys, welcome back to Praise Dance Central Ministries. Today we are going to be talking about dependency issues in dance ministry. And I know that we all have them, we all have experienced them. Some of us are even dealing with them at the present time. And some of us who are teachers are witnessing this in our dance ministries. And we're going to talk about how to effectively combat against that issue. We're going to be coming from 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 15. And it says, be diligent to present yourself approved to God, a worker who does not need to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. The King James Version says this, study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Okay, so we're going to talk about that because that is important. That's going to help our dependency issue. And to give you an example of that, let's take our dances. Say that we're in dance class and we're practicing choreography. And there is a time as we are learning that we are dependent on one another, because we're looking at the next team member because we want to make sure we're doing it right. And they're kind of like, they become kind of like our instructor. We're learning from them. We're learning, okay, she's putting her arm here. I want everyone to be uniform. I want to look like everyone else, the way they're doing it, so that we can all look like we're all flowing together. So I'm going to put my arm here, not way over there. So we look at each other for learning purposes. But there comes a time where we have to move out of learning into worship. And I stress this often, especially in the ministry that I am a part of. I stress worship in your choreography, because if you don't worship in your choreography, it's just going to be a dance. It's going to look like you're just stepping to movement. You're dancing and that's it. There's no heart, there's no passion, there's no true worship, no true ministry there. You're just trying to get your steps right. And that's exactly how it's going to look if you do not worship in your choreography. So there is a time of learning. There is a time of studying, when we study to show ourselves approved. The learning process, learning the choreography, going to rehearsal, that is how we're studying to show ourselves approved. But there's also another level of studying to show ourselves approved unto God. That is when we go into our secret place, into our closet. That's when we go into our private time with the Lord, and we begin to take that choreography and worship in that choreography. And let God begin to purge us and to make that dance real to us as we give it to God in worship. And that is where the substance of our dance comes from. That's where the emotion and the facial expressions and the grace and all of that comes from. We begin to worship in the dance and make that dance our own. So that's what combats dependency, because if we don't worship in our homes, by ourselves, in the choreography, the practice, the rehearsal doesn't stop at rehearsal. We have to carry that on into our homes, into our prayer classes. Do you guys pray and move? Prayer in motion? When I pray, I've been doing this for years, and I thank God, because I thought it was crazy, but I noticed that other people are doing it too. So when I saw that, I said, hallelujah, I'm not crazy. I pray and move. When I pray, it's like I'm dancing my prayers. And that is how I got a lot of my movement vocabulary. That's how I got a lot of dances and a lot of movement. I got it tailored and it's in my muscle memory, so that when I automatically do these things, and I have certain signature movements that I do because I do them often in prayer. And I bring them into my dances, and I teach my team members that, because this is what I do in prayer. This is what's natural to me. And I teach them natural movements, teach them things that just come from within. There's no particular form of dance. I'm not copying off of this form or that form. This is my dance. This is how I dance my praise. And I teach them that. And this is what Praise Dance Central Ministries is excellent in. I teach people how to dance their praise. Dance the dance that is inside of them. Because I understand that many of us in dance ministry have no training. And I had that problem, and it was a problem because it became a hindrance and a discouragement, because I thought because I didn't have any training, I wasn't trained in any form of dance, that I couldn't dance. I thought dancing was being trained in the dance, but then God had to open up my eyes and say, dancing is not being trained in any form of dance. Dancing is dancing your praise. And this is what praise dance is. And I said, okay, God, how do I do that? And then I started to begin to care for other people. And I say, I know I'm not the only one, God, so how can I take this and help other people? And that is how Praise Dance Central Ministries was birthed. So we have to learn in our prayer closets, learn in our secret place how to dance our praise. And we can dance our praise with beautiful form. We can dance our praise with beautiful technique. We can dance our praise with excellence. And technique is all about self-control, all about, watching our space, study the elements of dance. That's going to help the technique of you. We have our own technique. Perfect your technique. Perfect your dance. Study to show yourselves approved. Also study your dance. Get a video camera and just move. And you're going to start to see some movements that you like and build upon that. See how you can perfect that, how you can make that look more elegant, make it look more graceful, make it look more skillful, make it look more controlled, because sometimes as praise dancers, we get lost in our dance and we think that wildness is the anointing, and wildness says, ooh, she's really dancing and she's doing that. But oftentimes wildness speaks of our lack of control, lack of skill, and lack of technique. So we have to be careful with dancing wildly and just out of control and doing all of this stuff with no meaning. We have to make sure every movement is intentional. Every movement is purposeful. We're not just moving just to be moving. It's actually saying something. And that is how, one of the ways we study to show ourselves approved unto God, because we want everything that we do unto God to have meaning, to have purpose, so that we can speak a language to people. We can speak a language of encouragement, of praise, of purpose to God's people, so they can be encouraged, edified, and comforted in the faith. And that comes with studying. We have to study our movements. We have to study us. What is the dance that God gave you? How did He give you the ability to move? Your technique is going to come from that, because no one is going to move like you. That's what makes ministry and dance ministry so special. Sometimes people say, oh, dance ministry is not a ministry because dance and the arts is focusing on the person. But let me tell you something. That is what the Bible teaches us, that God created everything for His glory. All things were created by Him and for Him. And this includes dance. What the world has done was take dance and we made it for our own personal glory. That's why sometimes, most of the time, especially in the secular world, dance glorifies the dancer. We get praise from the people because, it validates the dancer. And it's for the glory of the person dancing. But in God, what we're trying to teach people in dance ministry, that in God, we don't go by that philosophy. We don't go by the ways of the world, taking the arts and making it about the artistic person. We take the arts and make it about God. That's the difference between dance ministry and secular dance. That's the difference between praise dance and secular dance. Secular dance has the glory on the dancer. Praise dance, the glory is not on the dancer, the glory is on God. And we have to reflect that in our dance. Hallelujah. So we have to study to show ourselves approved unto God. And when we're in rehearsal and we start to depend on people, because if you have that dependence issue going on and you're not worshiping in your house, and you're not praising God in your house, when it's time to minister, your eyes are going to be on Sister Cherry Top and the other person behind you and the person in front of you. You're not worshiping because you're too busy worrying about if you got your dance step together, if you're in line with that person. If you have worship, if everyone on the team who's dancing worships in their home in the choreography, you guys will flow together. You don't have to worry about what is she doing and what is that person over there and what is this person over there doing. One thing that just kind of like frustrates me, it just makes me sad. It just makes me, say, what is wrong with you? Why? Is because that it's not necessary. That speaks of lack of preparation, lack of study. If we have to look and depend on other people and see what other people are doing, when we're dancing, our dance should be boom unto God and focus on ministering to the people as we are doing it together as a group. We're not supposed to be looking at Sister Cherry Top over here and see what she's doing to make sure my movement is compatible with hers. No, that was during rehearsal. Now it's time to minister the dance that we've practiced. And we can't be dependent on other people looking around, seeing what people are doing. That tears up a dance, because remember, praise dance is visual. People are looking at you, your facial expressions, your eye movements, where you place your eyeballs, where you're looking, your head, your direction. All of that speaks. And we have to make sure we're speaking to them and we're not speaking over there and speaking over there and speaking over there by looking at other people. And you can see the worry on the person's face. You can see that anxiousness on the person's face and actions when they're depending on their co-member, when they're depending on their team member, and when they're depending on their leader or someone in front of them. You can see it because it's like they're trying to mimic the person's steps. That's not ministering. When we start doing things like that as team members, that's not ministering. So if you still feel that you are dependent on other people and you do not have your dance down, you have not been practicing and worshiping in your dance, it's okay to tell your leader, I think I need to sit this one out because I'm not going to be ministering most effectively. And what you want to do is minister most effectively. You want the truth to be there. There's no truth there. The truth that's coming out when you're dependent on people, when you have that dependency thing going on, is the truth is you have not prepared properly. You're not prepared. That's the truth that's coming out in your dance. And the truth that we want to come out in our dance is the truth of our life, the truth of our praise, the truth that we are truly studying to show ourselves approved unto God so God can use us for his glory. Amen. So with that, I just want to encourage you, if you're a team member and you have dependency issues, that dependency issue can easily be combated by taking this principle of 2 Timothy 2:15, by studying to show yourself approved unto God, so that you will not be ashamed when it's time for you to minister. So with that, I want you guys to be blessed, be encouraged, continue to dance your praise unto the Lord. If you have any questions, please leave your comments. Please go to the website that I have, and I will provide it for you in the information box. I'm going to start doing every Wednesday. I will let you guys know. I will make a video about it and I'll put it on my blog. I'm going to have something called Praise Dance Talk, where we can come together and we can just talk all issues about praise dance, because that's important. It's going to be on a call line so that you can call in and we can all just fellowship together, build a network, a community of people where we can actually talk to people, talk to each other, be encouraged by each other, share our best practices so that we can minister most effectively. One of the things about technology that I'm loving is that technology connects us to each other, and if we do it right and we do it to the glory of God, we can really be blessed, and we can bless other people. Oftentimes people use technology, YouTube, Facebook, and all of these things to get famous and to make a reputation and get their name out there. But I don't think God wants us to use technology that way. He wants us to use technology to glorify him. How can we best serve each other and help each other with the technology? And this is the reason why I make videos, because this technology is affording me to put, you know, what God has put in my heart to help other people so that they can be helped, not so that they can see me, so that they can take what I'm saying and take what I have learned and actually make it their own, try it. And it's a testimony to them, and it's a testimony to me that God is working in all of us, and God can use each and every one of us to impact each other so that we can all learn and grow up into Him. And technology affords us to do that. We can learn from so many different people. We're not just, our circle of influence has widened. And it's amazing to see the creativity that God has in other people, you know, in different states and different countries. Sometimes we're just, you know, so we're kind of like a little closed-minded because we only see what's around us. But when God broadens that up and opens it up and we see the potential, we see other people, and it's like, wow, look at the glory of God. And technology affords us and allows us to do that. So with that, guys, be blessed. Again, if you have any questions, if you want me to talk about anything, please feel free to let me know. Please go to the website, get your resources. I'm starting to put resources up there to help you if you're a teacher, to help you with your class. And if you're a teacher, I can't stress this enough. If you are a teacher of dance ministry and you are not trained in any particular form of dance, please do not try to impose that upon your team members, because this is a serious thing. We can cause other people to be injured by our ignorance. So it's okay if you know the basics. We can teach each other the basics. We can teach the basics, but if you're not really skillful and you really don't know a technique or know how to teach a technique, please leave that out of your choreography, because you want to be a good steward over your team members, and you do not want to injure your team members. You don't want to embarrass your team members, especially if they don't know how to put their arms. If you're doing, for instance, ballet, they don't know how to put their arms, they don't know how to flow, they don't have that gracefulness yet, and you choreograph a dance that has all that. What you're doing is embarrassing really your team member, and you're not really building up their confidence because they're not trained in that technique, but you have choreographed a dance that requires that technique. So before you teach a dance, make sure, and there's certain technique in it, make sure you teach that technique and everyone has a good grasp and hold of that technique, and then you teach them your choreography. That's important, because remember, your dance speaks, and you don't want your dance to speak embarrassment. You don't want your dance to speak poorly. You want your dance to speak with excellence, and you want your dance to glorify God. Remember, if you don't know how to do it, you don't need it in your dance. To God be the glory, and God bless you all. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.